Welcome again to Nixon Park. Today we're going to do a stream investigation to see what is living underwater in the creek. I'm Kelsey, and I also have with me
Mrs. Landis, Mrs. Gerhart, Mrs. Witman, Mrs. Blauch,
and I'm Mrs. Ross behind the camera.
Let's get started. All right, before we get in the creek, what is it that we are looking for once we get in the creek today? Who can think of what might live here underwater in the creek?
bugs,
Bugs, very good. We're gonna look for bugs. What else?
crayfish,
Crayfish, excellent. Maybe we'll find a crayfish.
maybe a frog,
A frog, excellent.
a snake,
A snake would be cool to find, yep. So we could find reptiles living in the creek. We could find amphibians, not just frogs, but more likely salamanders that would be underwater here. We could find crustaceans, like you said, crayfish or other 10-legged creatures like scuds. And most importantly, we're gonna be looking for bugs like insects, and we're gonna think about their life cycles that they're going through under the water today. So there's two different categories of insects under the water that are halfway through their life cycles. You've heard about life cycles, right? What do insects start out their life cycle as?
egg,
Eggs, very good. So at the end of last fall, lots of insects that live here in the forest and around our wet areas laid their eggs into the creek water. Those baby insects hatched out of their eggs underwater in the creek last winter, and now they're growing in the second phase of their life cycles. Does anyone know the second stage of some of those life cycles?
larval,
Larvae. Some of the baby insects we're looking for today are called larvae. Let me show you a quick example. Who has seen one of these before?
Ew.
It looks kind of like another larva that we know of, right? Kind of like a baby butterfly, which is called a caterpillar. This larva that lives under the water looks a lot like a larva caterpillar of a butterfly. This one's a larva of a crane fly. Here's the adult crane fly that maybe you've seen before. So this insect laid her eggs into the water. The babies hatched out into this larva. What's the next stage after larva? Anyone remember? It starts with a P?
pupa. Yep.
Pupa. This larva, after it's done eating under the creek in the water, it's eating lots of plant material that's fallen in, leaves that have fallen into the creek. As it gets big and ready to become an adult, it's going to become a pupa. And then it will hatch into an adult this summer or this spring, depending which species of crane fly it is, okay? So some insects we're looking for are larvae under the water. But there is a second life cycle that some of these insects are going through that does not include a pupa stage. Have you heard of that one? When the babies hatch out of their eggs, they're not called larvae. They are a name that starts with an N.
Nymph.
A nymph, very good. Here's an example of a baby insect called a nymph. Anyone know what kind of insect baby this is?
I want to say hellgrammite, but that's probably not right.
Good guess, not a hellgrammite. Here's its mother.
Dragonfly. Oh, should have been a dragonfly man.
A dragonfly. So dragonflies are one of the insects that laid their eggs into the water. The baby's hatched out as a nymph. This baby is going to keep growing and shedding its skin and getting bigger, eating lots of other little baby insects under there, shedding its skin and getting bigger until it's ready to shed its skin into an adult. So it skips the pupa stage. So that is called incomplete metamorphosis. Have you heard the word metamorphosis?
Yes.
What are some other animals that go through metamorphosis life cycles?
The butterfly,
Butterflies,
honeybees,
bees,
frogs.
frogs. Very good, excellent. So we are going to be looking for baby insects called nymphs going through incomplete metamorphosis, and baby insects called larvae going through complete metamorphosis with all 4 stages including pupa. So those are some of the things we're going to be looking for when we get into the water. Now, why do we want to find baby insects in the water today?
To see if the creek is healthy.
Very good. We want to see if the creek is healthy. How are the insects going to tell us the creek is healthy?
Well, if we can't find any insects, then it would mean there's probably pollution there and they are not able to grow.
Excellent. If there's nothing living in this creek, which we can't tell just by looking at it, we can't see these insects just by looking at it. We've got to look really closely. They're very small, the size of our fingernails. So we've got to get really close and see if there's anything living here. If there's nothing here, very good, then it's polluted. What are some things that can pollute the creek water?
Oil fluids.
Oil fluids, car exhaust, salt on the roadway from the winter. All those pollutants can get washed into a creek.
And even farmland manure can cause a nitrogen buildup in the stream.
Absolutely. Runoff from farmland or even parks that allow dogs or neighborhoods that have pets. Any kind of animal waste in large quantities running off into a creek could provide pollution into the creek. Also things like acid rain or people washing cars and the soapy water going into the creek would change the pH levels in the creek and make it too acidic for animals to live there or too basic. So all kinds of things could be polluting this water that we can't see with our naked eyes. The number one pollutant in York County, though, we didn't name yet. Pesticides. That's a good one. Also, chemical pesticides or fertilizers could run into the creek and change the water quality. But the biggest pollutant is soil. Soil erosion runoff. Okay, so wherever there's bare soil, like trails or just dirt roads, anywhere there's not plants along the side of a waterway, anywhere that it's mowed right up to the edge of a waterway, anywhere that farm animals are walking in and out of a waterway, that's causing soil erosion, and that's our number one pollutant. That would clog the gills of these animals that live underwater. So when we are looking for these baby insects, they're going to be telling us the water is clean and healthy, it doesn't have soil floating in it, it doesn't have any of these chemical pollutants that we've discussed. There's one more important reason we are looking for baby insects in the creek today. Insects are one of the bases of the food chains here in a forest or stream habitat. If we don't have insects, we can't have birds, we can't have baby birds. What are some other animals that eat insects?
Frogs.
Frogs! We can't have frogs without insects. Snakes, what else?
Even other animals like foxes will sometimes dig up insects.
Yep, sure. All the mammals that live around here, minks, raccoons, squirrels, all those animals eat insects. All the birds are eating insects right now. They have to feed their babies insects as they're raising young. Also other amphibians like salamanders, other reptiles like turtles, and fish is a huge one. Fish eat insects, absolutely. So we are about to get in the creek and look for fish food. Okay.